to the Unleash Success Podcast, where we break down the secrets of success to give you real tools and strategies that get real results. And now, here's your host, Corey Corpodian.
Welcome back to Unleash Success. If you haven't subscribed to our newsletter yet, just go to unleashsuccess.com, enter your email so you can get all the tools and strategies sent directly to you each and every week. Today, I want to talk to you about an extremely important topic, and that is our health and energy. And we're going to go over 5 simple ways that you can improve your health and energy today. And I want to tell you why I believe this is such an important topic and why we have to focus on it. You know, I was talking with Jarek Robbins, the peak performance coach from episode number 38 of Unleash Success. And we were talking about what the similarities between an entrepreneur and someone who's being tortured are. And I'm like sitting there, what are you talking about? He's like, well, think about it, Corey. What's the first thing they deprive you of if you're being tortured in war? And I'm like, well, I guess food and water. And he's like, right. What do entrepreneurs do? I'm like, man, that's right. A lot of people forget to eat. You know, we skip a meal. We're so busy working, we don't take care of ourselves. Sometimes we're so busy taking care of other people or putting out fires that we don't focus on making sure that we're healthy. And he's like, what's the second thing they deprive you of? Sleep. I'm like, oh my God, that's right. And think about entrepreneurs and side hustlers. And, you know, we're all about that hustle and grind, work 24/7. I got this. And yet we're depriving ourselves of sleep, of rest, where some of our most important recuperating abilities happen during our sleep, our immune system function, our memory, our ability to think and focus in the next day. And so I'm thinking to myself, wow, why don't people talk about this more often? Why don't entrepreneurs talk about this more often? We're sitting here hustle and grind, and then we're running ourselves into the ground. And when you're tired, when you're not feeling good, you're going to make more mistakes. You're going to make life more difficult. So let's go into those 5 ways that we can increase our energy, increase our health, and start living our best life each and every day today. So number 1 is the food that you put in your body. You know, when I started doing men's physique competitions, I realized that our bodies are a highly tuned machine. I mean, what we put in our body, if you put the right food in your body, if you hydrate, if you do the right things for your body, it will literally function amazingly. The problem is that we don't even realize that we're poisoning our body, that we're making our body work harder instead of allowing ourselves to function at full energy. And what I mean by that is that we eat all these foods that taste so good, the candy, the cookies, the ice cream, a lot of these things that have a high amount of sugar and even a high amount of carbohydrates cause our bodies to struggle. 1, they cause our immune function to actually be decreased. And 2, you get this huge spike in glucose when you eat a ton of carbohydrates and sugar. So imagine you're going to work and you go to lunch and you grab a big sandwich or a burrito or a bunch of, carbs basically. And you then go grab a drink and you're like, maybe I'll get a soda today. And you have that soda's got 45 grams of carbohydrates or 50 grams of sugar. And you're sitting there and you're eating it, you feel good, and all of a sudden, 30 minutes later, your body responds by releasing insulin in your body to get rid of that excess sugar, and it causes you to crash, literally. And that's why at 2, 3 o'clock, everybody's so sleepy, they just want to go home, I'm so tired. And so if you want to change how you feel today, skip the soda, skip the sugar. Don't eat a ton of carbohydrates. Don't get rice, beans, tortilla on that burrito. Maybe go for a salad, right? So these are different ways that we can change the intake of our food that allow us to keep a high level of energy. And now I'm not saying starve yourself. You don't want to skip a meal because that can also have an adverse effect. But what I am saying is that you want to make sure that you are not sabotaging your energy levels by putting in all this sugar and carbohydrates. Now, the second thing that I think is super important and is more of a preventative measure, because once you start taking them, it might be too late if you're already feeling sick or, your immune system's down, and that's supplements. Now, one of the supplements that I take is athletic greens. Now, that is an amazing supplement. I first started taking it about 2 years ago. And before that, I was actually taking a green drink as well, because 3 years ago, I was insanely sick and I just couldn't break it. I mean, it was 6-8 weeks. I was so sick, and I'm like, listen, what do I have to do? So I started searching for answers, and everybody talked about this alkalinity of the blood, and everybody talked about you got to eat more greens. And I was like, man, that makes so much sense. When I was competing, I was eating a cup of vegetables 5 to 6 times a day. I had a massive amount of servings of greens, and I was so healthy. And I thought, okay, let me find a way that I can do this without having to cook broccoli, without having to eat it 5-6 times a day, because now who has time for that? And so Athletic Greens, literally 1 to 2 scoops. I usually do 2 because some days, I'll be honest, I forget to take it. But guess what? It's okay because it's a consistent habit. It builds up my immune system. It's got tons of vitamins. It's got tons of greens. I think there's 10 to 12 servings of vegetables in this supplement. And I take it almost every day. And I'll tell you this quick story. I stopped taking it for a month because I was in Bali for 3 weeks. When I came back, we were running around. I didn't have it. I had to reorder it. And then all of a sudden, I went on another trip to New York City. So I'm just around a lot of different people. I'm stuck in that airplane, which is just like an incubator for bacteria. And all of a sudden, I get home and I actually got sick for the first time in 3 years. And I'm like, this is crazy. So I started looking back and I was like, wow, my diet was shit. I was eating a bunch of carbohydrates. I was drinking more alcohol than usual. And I wasn't even taking my Athletic Greens. So I started taking it again. And within a week, I started feeling better. But I could not believe how much it had affected me, how much time I lost, and how much I had to sleep just to recover. And so that's something that's super, super important, is making sure you're taking some good supplements. So some other good supplements that you take, and these are all preventative so that your body can respond better when challenged. Because let's face it, some people get sick when they go to, shake hands and they're around people, and other people never get sick. It's because how is their immune system functioning? We want optimal function for optimal energy and optimal health. By taking these supplements, I basically am ensuring that my body is responding the best it can. So some supplements that I take on a fairly regular basis are at the Athletic Green supplement. I also do take a Keto Prime supplement from Ketogenics. That helps me just kind of jumpstart back into the keto diet and helps eliminate some of those side effects of going into keto, which you might have heard of, like the keto flu, which really is kind of a headache and really is when your body and your brain is trying to shift over from glucose to ketone bodies as energy. Another supplement I take is fish oil. That has a lot of anti-inflammatory properties, helps with joints as well sometimes, and basically keeping the inflammation in our bodies down. And if our inflammation's down, our immune system can function a lot better because it focuses on the stuff that we need to focus on. I also, if I take about maybe 3 times a week, I probably take a shot of wheatgrass. Now, I know people are like, ugh, gross. I don't like wheatgrass. It tastes like grass. No shit, Sherlock. Wheatgrass is not always the best tasting thing, and sometimes they'll give you an orange slice at the end of it, like at Jamba Juice is where I usually go to grab it. But I found that really kind of helps boost my alkalinity of my body. Maybe it's a mental thing. Maybe it's a placebo effect. But hey, guess what, guys? You know what? Honestly, if I'm not feeling great, I take a shot or 2 of that, usually a double shot, or I take it twice a day, and I'm on my feet in no time. And that's one of those things that not always needed because I got the Athletic Greens, but if I want a little boost, that's what I do. So those are the first 2. Now, the third one that I want to talk to you about and staying healthy and energized and making sure we're focused and we're being our best self each and every day is how we deal with negative emotions. You guys know me. I'm always talking about emotional fitness. But what's an emotion that basically most of us feel almost every single day, and yet we kind of brush it off or maybe go out with friends to deal with it? And that's stress. It's like, in today's day and age, if you're not stressed out, you're not working hard enough, man. If you're not stressed out, you don't have a hard enough job. You need to get your shit together. Like, what are you talking about? And all of a sudden, too, it's like a way for people to connect. Like, oh, how's your Monday going? Oh, super stressed. How's your Friday? Oh, so stressful. Can't wait for the weekend. It's like, why is stress the go-to emotion? It'd be crazy if someone was like, how's your Monday going? Great, man. I had an awesome weekend. I'm super stoked for the week. You'd be like, what are you on, dude? You're weird. All right, I got to go to work, man. Get stressed. And so how you deal with stress is extremely important because stress manifests itself in a literal physical way. People are like, oh, I'm so stressed, I have a headache. You're causing yourself to have that headache. People are like, I'm so stressed, I'm having anxiety. Your heart starts beating faster. You're causing that to happen because of what you're thinking of, because of the stress that you're putting on your body. And when I was in dental school, we used to have to take, for the first 2 years, we had to take blood pressure measurements on every single person that walked through the door because hypertension was this silent killer, they said. It was causing all this damage to basically all your organs and your veins, and it would, over time, be a really big problem if it wasn't controlled. Well, guess what causes high blood pressure? Stress. So how we deal with stress is extremely, extremely important. And I will tell you right now, the best way is to find something that is healthy, that helps you relax, and it can do it every single day. It's super simple and quickly. Now, I've got 3 things that I'll give you real quick. Number 1, exercise. I feel that when I exercise, it starts my day off right. I usually do it in the morning. I feel good about myself, and it kind of shifts my mindset to approach the day in a better, more productive way. Number 2 is gratitude. I find that when we're grateful for things in life, grateful for opportunities, grateful even for challenges to allow us to grow and become better people, that, honestly, the stress or the fear or the anxiety or the worry, that all kinds of just disappears. So write down 3 things you're grateful for, sincerely grateful for. Don't just, I'm grateful for my house, I'm grateful for my job, blah, blah, blah. No, I want some sincere gratitude. That's the only way it will actually work. And then the third thing about basically relieving stress is breath work. How you're breathing can actually affect your body. We've talked about this before, how important our physiology affects our mindset, how our physiology affects our emotions. And so what you can do is you can do a set of breathing exercises, a few of them just to kind of keep you calm and a little bit more focused and reduce the anxiety or stress that you're feeling in life, is to breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, and exhale for 4 seconds, and then hold for 4 seconds, and kind of do this little box with your breath. So in for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, out for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, and then repeat. And that really helps kind of change the way you feel in a moment. And so these are all things that you can do today. So those are 3 things to help you deal with stress. And now the 4th thing that I really think that helps me stay focused and energized, really, and also promotes health insanely, is exercise. And we talked about that last time as a way to deal with mental stress. But let's talk about how it physically affects us, right? So when we're exercising, we're challenging our body. We've got the blood flowing. We release endorphins. We're increasing our ability for our immune system to function, for our heart to function, for oxygen to get to our body. And these things are all so important. Listen, in today's day and age, with computers, with technology, most people sit at a desk in a chair for 8 hours a day. And they're sitting there saying, you know what, you got to stand up every 5 minutes and stretch and walk around the place. And listen, you know what, in evolutionary days and caveman days, people literally ran for their life 24/7. I mean, it was just insanity how physically fit people had to be. Now, the most running people get is walking from their car to the office, from their office back to the car, and then from their car to their house, maybe from the couch to the fridge. So do yourself a favor and start setting a habit, set a routine, set something. Just say, I'm going to do something physical that engages my body outside of just walking at least 4 to 5 times a week. And the reason I say 4 to 5 times a week is because I believe that in order for you to gain a benefit of something, you have to be doing that something more than you're not doing it. So if there's 50% of the days in a week as 3.5, but if you are not working out 5 days a week and only doing it 2 days a week, you're not going to notice the benefit. I love doing it. I'm almost an everyday going to the gym or working out or doing something physical. And so if you're doing it at least 4 times, you're getting more than 50% of the week there, and you're going to start seeing the benefit to that. Also, too, of course, it releases endorphins, which just make you literally feel good. Who doesn't want that? And so the fifth thing that we will talk about to help you stay healthy and energized. And man, I got to tell you, I love this. You might not love it as much in the beginning, but I will tell you that it massively changes the way you feel and your immune system function. And it's really actually twofold. It is heat and cold exposure. Now, there's lots of studies out there about sauna exposure and how it boosts growth hormone in your body, which helps with recovery, which helps with, growth hormone is literally what we have as kids that keeps us so energized. It's when, growth hormone, people who are in their 60s and 70s literally take injections of to feel young again. And you can do that by using the sauna. There's some studies out there that show that if you do 15 to 20 minutes twice, spread apart by about a 15 to 20 minute break, you can increase growth hormone by 2x. If you increase the temperature of the sauna room to 185 degrees, it can actually boost it even more. If you go to 212, which is really high, it can get up to 8 times in a shorter amount of time, like as little as 15 to 20 minutes in the sauna, because it's so hot and it causes your immune system and your body to release all these hormones. Also too, let's just sweat out the toxins. You got all this stuff in your body, sweat it out. Make sure you drink a ton of water when you're in the sauna, because that will help flush all the toxins out. So there's another way. Just, those toxins, they build up, they weigh you down literally and also mentally. Your energy is down. So sauna exposure is absolutely huge. Also, side note, it increases metabolism. So who doesn't want to burn a few extra calories and feel good while doing it? Now, the second thing is something that I actually discovered a couple of years ago. And I was watching this documentary about a guy named Wim Hof. They call him the Iceman. You might have seen from Trisha Smith, who was in an episode of the podcast earlier. I'll put a link in the bio. Fantastic stuff about the Wim Hof method. But basically, he talks all about cold exposure. So about 2 years ago, I started reading up on this guy. I'm like, all right, cool. Let me see what this cold exposure is all about. And basically, he's like, turn the shower to freezing cold and sit there for 10 seconds the first day, and then 15 seconds the second day, 20 the third, and build up to 30 seconds, and finally a minute, and then finish with a cold shower for a minute. And I got to tell you, I live in Southern California, so I was blessed that the water wasn't too cold all the time. But when winter rolled around, holy cow, you can get 50-degree water coming out of there, or even less, and it was freezing. But I'll tell you one thing. It feels amazing after it's done. It does not feel amazing in the moment, but as you build up the tolerance, you got to really build it up. You want to make sure you're breathing during this thing. When we talked about how breath really affects our physiology, just keep breathing. Take nice deep breaths with a slow, long exhale. Doesn't have to be super deep, just a nice and make sure your exhale longer than your inhale. That's super important. And okay, so 1, cold shower literally wakes you up. 2, it's been shown to increase your immune system function just by naturally taking a cold shower. So it's not like you have to do anything crazy. Just at the end of your shower, sit there for 30 seconds under the cold water. And at the same time, too, it's an amazing boost in metabolism. All these things, basically what the heat and cold do is they challenge our body to force ourselves outside of our comfort zone, because that's the way our body can be. Now, this is we talked about alleviating stress, and people are like, Corey, this is stressing me out talking about heat and cold. I don't want to do this. It is a purposeful stress. It is intentional stress, and it is a limited time for that stress. So when you limit the time, when you limit the cold or the heat exposure, instead of your body going into a negative dip, it actually creates a boost. Your body's challenged, it fights off that challenge, and then you go back to normal life, but you've got this increased activity in your immune system. You're awake because you just took a cold shower, and you feel great. I'm telling you, if you try it, I did it for an entire year, and then I started doing cold ice baths with 32 to 35 degrees and 300 pounds of ice in there. And man, I got to tell you, the last time I did it, I dunked my head, and I've gone skydiving, guys. And this is not a joke. I literally felt like I jumped out of the plane. That's how exhilarating it was. And I got to tell you, if you want to increase your health and energy today, you've got a plethora of things you can do. There are 5 main things to think about, though. We talked about the food that we go into. So what do we put into our body? Remember, limiting sugar and carbohydrates helps keep your energy levels high. We talked about the ketogenic diet a little bit, and what to do with that is it basically. We talked about supplements, making sure you're taking a preventative measure. You don't want to wait till it's too late when your health's down or you're feeling tired. You want to make sure that you're optimized each and every single day. And my favorite supplement, the one that I make sure I take, is Athletic Greens. Number 3, we talked about dealing with that mental stress, finding a positive way to deal with it. We talked about how you can exercise today. You can do breathing. That little 4 square breathing exercise is fantastic. And then gratitude is huge. Number 4, we talked about exercise, how that releases endorphins, makes us feel good, wakes us up, gets the body moving, right? Releases all these toxins, breaks everything up. Heat and cold exposure, man, that is some fun stuff, and it can be super relaxing, it can be enjoyable, it can be fun, and it can feel good to know that you're able to push yourself to the limit, and then when you come back, your new baseline is actually higher. You've got more energy, you've got improved health function, and you can look up studies online, literally with Wim Hof. Look him up about how it's increasing his whole method increases his immune function. You can look up that sauna study I told you about. You can look these things up and see for yourself, or you can try it today and see how literally in a day or 2 you can change how you feel about your body, how you feel in your mind, your emotions, and how your energy is literally increased. And when we have increased energy and focus, we're able to be our best self each and every day. And thank you guys so much for listening. I know that you are all out there hustling and grinding, but remember to take care of yourself, because if you don't take care of yourself, you're not going to be able to help anybody else out there. You're not going to be able to improve your life. And for next week, I am super excited because we're going to talk to the master of pitching anything, literally the author of the book by the same name, Oren Klaff. And we just did the interview the other day, and it was absolutely fantastic. I really enjoyed it. I think you're going to get a lot of value. He has raised over $1 billion in capital and has sold over 1 million books in the last couple of years. So be sure to tune in next week. And also make sure, if you guys want, to subscribe to the podcast. That is the only way that we are able to keep doing this. And I really appreciate each and every one of you for subscribing right now. Thanks so much. I'll see you next week. If you enjoyed the show and learned something of value, the one ask that I have is please go subscribe, whether you're on iTunes, Spotify, or YouTube. And if you leave us a 5-star rating or review, that absolutely helps us get our message out there. Each week, I'm going to continue to interview amazing people, and we're going to break down their tools and strategies to help get you real results. Feel free to visit the website, unleashsuccess.com, and subscribe to our newsletter so you can get updates each week. And remember, knowing is not enough. Knowledge alone is not power. Action is. Because action is the only way you're going to get the results you want in life and truly live the life of your dreams. So take some action, subscribe to the podcast today, and get ready to unleash success in you.